Alright, well, what we're working on today is an '07 Cadillac CTS with a 2.8 liter V6. I was just going to show everybody what this looks like. Now, this is the new alternator. It's got the heat shield on it. I just put it on there. Now, this alternator has 3 bolts in it, okay? That's the 3 bolts. One is short, the other 2 are the same length. Alright, no big deal. I removed this alternator from the top. I don't know if y'all can see all this. It's kind of tricky. You have to unplug these computer plugs, and please make sure you disconnect the battery before you mess with that computer. I've got a charger on there now, but disconnect the battery, the negative side, before you mess with the wires, these computer wires. You're gonna blow up something. But this is what it looks like. That's the mount, okay? There's 2 bolts on the bottom and 1 on the top. And there's the power wire, and the other wire is the signal wire, the little one with the orange gasket. Now, I loosened that alternator up all the way and turned it and pointed that 10mm bolt that goes in right here. I pointed it up enough to get this real long extension in there. And that's how I did it. I did it from the top. Now, another thing I did is that wire, this is alternator wire with a 200 amp inline, one of those multi-inline fuses on there. See that? I disconnected it, okay, and it gave me just a little bit more slack, not much, okay. Well, that was negligible whether I really got a lot, but that's what I did. So I jacked it up. I didn't have to take the wheel off. I only had to take these guys off here and just slide that alternator up through this hole. What I recommend to do is take the 2 bottom bolts off first, all the way out, okay? Then take the top one out. Alright, it'll be much easier to do that way. You'll need a breaker bar to do the tensioner, and those bolts are 15mm. These are the different wrenches that I use to do it, and that's all there is to it. That little rubber boot that covers up this thing is pretty tight. It's a nice one. You're going to have to mess with that rubber boot for a while to get it out. And when I disconnected this plug here, I disconnected it blind just by squeezing it and pulling it out. I'm going to put it back in the same way. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. Anybody can get their hand in there and do it. It's going to be really tight. You just can't get in a big hurry and throw things around. You got to take your time and do it nice and slow. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Have a good day. Alright, well, I just wanted to show this thing going in there. Just have to take your time and kind of slowly articulate this thing around till you get it in there where it's supposed to go. It's almost impossible to do with one hand, I'm telling you. Anyway, get that thing turned. Yeah, I can't do it with one hand. Okay, well, I got it in a pretty good spot. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reach around here with my left hand and slide that wire on there, and then I don't know if you can see it from the back here. There's my hand. Yep, there it is. See, let me zoom it in. What you're going to do is slide that on there like so. Little rubber boots in the way, so you kind of have to do it one-handed. Push that boot up out of the way, and then come in with your long extension and your socket, and slide that on there and screw it on. You just need to point it up a little bit so that you can get the angle out of it. You know, get it on straight, because you don't want to start it crooked. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Alright, well, let's have another thought here. And what I did was, this thing was just really in the way. So I sprayed some greaseless lubricant on there, which is silicone. I sprayed some silicone in there and broke it loose. Now the way this is going to go in there, it's going to go in there like this and point up. Alright? And with that rubber boot out of the way, it'll be much easier to get that nut on there, and then I can just slide it down and put the boot back. So that's what I did. Alright, now what I'm going to do with this is a hose tool to pop hoses off. I'm going to use this to hold this nut down there, and I'm going to have my hand on the alternator. And I'm going to put this tool down there, and then on the end of the post where the battery posts go, and then I can slide this little guy on like that and screw it on with my fingers. I'm going to try that, see how it works. Just an idea for somebody else. If that can help them, that's cool. Alright, well, I just wanted to show the progress here. I've got my long 3/8 drive articulating head ratchet down in there, and I'm going to put this down there so maybe y'all can see where it's at. There we go. That's it right there. And brake lines are kind of in the way, so really doesn't help anything. But that's where it is. That's how I did it. I tightened them up all the way with this and this little guy here with the short socket on there. But then when it comes time to crank them down and torque them down, I'm using this big long one, and it fits in there just fine. Now the other two connections are on there. As you can see, there's the plug on the top, and that red wire right behind it. That's the power wire, the 200 amp power wire. Alright, so there it is. There's that power wire. It just goes in and points straight up. I've got it all on there, and it worked out just fine.